always lit over at AJsRANTroom.com. We got the best bags and accessories, our beloved Black Series. We got fresh lids for you hat lovers, fire jackets and hoodies, and of course we got you covered on the t-shirts. And introducing our first shoe line, Aloysius Germain. So get on over to AJsRANTroom.com today and get to shopping. You won't be disappointed.
What have you done for me lately? Ooh, yeah. To the bridge. Dun, 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 dun. Happy Tuesday, everybody. How everybody do? How we do today? Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Are we good? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Pat. Hallelujah. All right. Welcome to the daily equivalence of an appendix called Tuesday. Why do we have Tuesday? I don't know. But anyway, hope all is well. We got some some deep things and some crazy things to talk about. But let's start with a man named Brian Harpole. So he was Charlie Kirk's head of security. And he went on the Sean Ryan podcast and he said a lot. You know, I can only share a little bit, but we'll put the link to it in the description. But I do want to go over two moments that stood out to me. One about the roof, because, you know, it's a conspiracy as to why the roof was just open, you know. And so he's going to clarify that in the second clip that I shared. But in the first clip, he goes over the actual moment, like what happened, where he was standing, you know, how everything, you know, transpired. And of course, everything's happened, you know, at the speed of light. And so when people, you know, it's easy to quote Monday morning quarterback, you know, after everything unfolds. But you got to understand, in those moments, you are making literal knee-jerk decisions and stuff you've trained for. But it's one thing to train for it, and there's another thing when the real world unfolds, right? So you can't predict it. And so now imagine that, you know, Charlie Kirk gets shot. Boom. You witness that. Now you don't know, because in that moment, no one knew if the person that was shooting was going to continue to shoot. Thank God they didn't, you know. Thank God they didn't continue to shoot, but you don't know. So you imagine the guys are trying to protect him and gather him, not knowing if they're going to be killed as well, you know, and then everyone else in the crowd, you know, all the craziness is going on. But anyway, let Brian describe it.
I've got my back to Charlie about, I don't know, less than 10 meters off to his right. And my area of responsibility, just we had a lot of people coming up some staircases there, and it was starting to fill in. And so I was watching that, and I remember I heard the gunfire, and then I don't know if you've heard this, but I heard that bullet slap him.
Jeez.
And so so you hear two sounds actually. And so you hear the actual shot, and then you hear the bullet hit him in the neck, like you hear it. Jeez. And so in my head, I had an attribution to that. Oop, I know what that is. And so I turned, and when I turned, started running, that's when Dan grabbed him. And I mean, this is a live fire event. It's not, everybody thinks in hindsight, well, this is a one-shot assassination.
Right,
no,
right.
In our heads, there's
You don't
fire.
know what that is.
There's fire. There's more to come, right? And so Dan grabs Charlie, and then
Who's Dan?
Dan was the guy standing right next to Charlie when he got shot on the stage, and then I was to the right of Dan.
Okay.
And so he grabs him, and then I turn and see him start to the ground, but then I'm just thinking gunfire. And then he's leading to the ground because I'm on his right, where he was shot right here in the left of his neck. And so I jumped down on top of Charlie to cover him because where we're at, it's concealment at best. It's a tabling with cloth on it, so it's not hard cover. And our guys are starting piling back in, and they're down, putting a human shield around him, but it's still just concealment. It's not cover.
And I just want to point out, this is seconds. This is happening in seconds, not 2-3 minutes, seconds.
And so I initially dove down on top of him and just was on him almost face to face. And then when I was doing that, I went down, I could see the wound. And so I immediately shoved my hand into the wound to stop the bleeding, just trying to find the pressure. And it was coming out still. And I'm on top of him, like close. And it was still coming out enough that it squirted through my fingers and I could taste it on my lips.
Jesus.
And so I was like, man, this.
But yeah, the conspiracies. But anyway. So not only you got to stay professional, and react and stick to the protocol that in the event that the unthinkable happens, now the unthinkable has happened. Now you got to get to work. Now you got to move.
It's a bad wound, right? And so I was just pushing that, and I don't know at that time. I know when you look at the clock, I was on him within 5 seconds and had my hands in him. And then I don't know when I put the first piece of medical on him. It was sometime after that, because I carry it right here, and that's why you carry it on you. You got to have it there. So, but then I remember pulling back away and thinking, damn, this is bad. Like it's coming out. And I don't remember saying this, but the guys told me, and you can kind of see it on the video. I said, prep the car. And I just prepped, and you see the two guys just take off. And that car's prepped in position, but what I mean, doors are open, I mean, the whole deal. And then so we're doing pressure control there, and it's a carotid artery, so you can't put a tourniquet on it, obviously. And in my head, I'm like, pack, pressure, pray, man. These are what you can do for that wound. But then, so I'm on top, and then I told the guys, we got to exfil. We're all out here in the open. We're trying to give wound care, and we got to get off this X, right? And so, but I just said, we're exfilling. And so we got up, I think it was like 15, 16 seconds from the time the shot happened to the time we were picking him up and headed.
15 to 16 seconds.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Wow.
And so
That's fast.
Yeah. And this is horrible. But
That is fast to get an initial assessment.
yeah. And so it's just like, dang. And it's some horrible realities of it too. That, like, I told the guys this, and I haven't. When I jumped down on him, he had doll's eyes. And so I was like, man, these are wounds incompatible with life.
You know.
He knew. Yeah. You see why I don't give a fuck about a podcaster sitting in her room coming up with conspiracy theories? You see why I don't care? Right. I don't care. Again, It's easy for all of us to Monday morning quarterback. It's another thing to be there in real time. When you have no idea if not only is this his last day, is this going to be all of our last day as well? Because we don't know. But we gotta do our jobs, and we gotta keep moving. I always respect security people. You know, professional security people, not like some fat guy that you just hired or like stand in front of you, but like a real professional security person who knows what to look for, right? Who knows how to do their job in excellence. You know, not when it's just all fun and red carpets, but when it's actually when it goes down. How to really do their jobs, how to train for that moment, and to be ready when the adrenaline is going crazy, to still be able to control yourself and get him out of there within 15 seconds. Yeah, that's what I respect. That's what I respect. So I don't care about people's conspiracy theories and all of that stuff. I have all of that, and we'll talk about some of that later. But to sit there and know, even though you're giving it your best effort, you know this man is dead already. You know he's dead already. But you still have to work. That's crazy. So when I hear things, oh, the team was in on it, and you're putting these people's lives in danger, they don't have millions of dollars like you do to hire private security. These are regular people working regular jobs, getting regular money. They don't have money to just drop $500,000 on private security. So that's why there's a degree and a level of apprehension towards folks who want to come up with a bunch of conspiracies. Now, the one conspiracy that I am still on the fence about is the type of gun they claim was used. Yeah, okay, we could have that conversation. But Turning Point USA, they had a part in it, and now we're talking about Egyptian airliners and whatever. Whatever. Anyway, so here's Brian clarifying for some people who, well, why was the roof open? Why was the roof wide open? He was following the laws. And then also relying on the chief of police for UVU. So it wasn't him. He understood that was a problem. But this is why the roof was accessible to Tyler Robinson, allegedly.
The Monday before the event, we were still working through the arrival. And so we have concerns with rooftops. We got a location that we're not keen with. We know what our responsibility is. We know what our statutory authority is. We know that we can't go up and set up our guys in sniper observer positions. It's not going to be allowed. And so we have some correspondence with the chief of the school on that day, on Monday before Charlie was killed. And why this hadn't come out and why he won't stand up like a man and admit this, I don't know. But he's watching a bunch of men lose their careers, and he's okay with it.
Jeez.
On Monday before, this correspondence went to Chief Long. Hello.
Now, before he does that, these are the receipts I want. Not some third party, special request from India. From the actual people who were there, who arranged it, whose jobs it was to actually protect him. So I'm glad Brian is speaking out.
Hello, Chief Long. We received this message today from the student group. There is a student roof access pretty close to where CK will be set up at the Utah Valley. The Sorensen Center has a couple of staircases that go up to walkways on the roofs. He comes back, and for edification, the Sorensen Center was the building in front of the Lucy Center. And so he comes back and he says, you want access to the roof. And came back and said, I was told students have access above us. If this is true, it would be nice to either have it controlled access or allow one of my guys to be there as well if possible. He comes back and his last correspondence was, I got you covered.
I got you covered. Wow.
What else am I to do? When a command level person from an accredited police department says, I've got this area.
Jeez. Have you been in who is that?
That was the chief of police for
Chief
the UVU
Long.
Police Department. We've called him. He's never called us back.
Holy shit.
Wow. Isn't that interesting? Maybe Candace can go down that rabbit hole. Why didn't Chief Long get back to the head of security? Charlie Kirk's head of security. Why is he not speaking up? Maybe, you know, instead of accusing the people who actually loved and respected this man, why don't we go after the real enemy? You know. Listen, I still have my side eye with that security footage. The lips don't match. The lips in that security footage don't match Tyler Robinson's lips. But again, the photo was enhanced. Whatever. But Chief Long, yeah, you need to speak up. Why are you so quiet? I know this is an ongoing investigation. We're not going to get everything, but it would be nice to know why you said you would cover. You would, because that was the first thing I thought. Okay, even if at best you can't have someone on the roof, can the building itself be secured? Right? Can you secure the stairwell leading up there and restrict access? At the very least, can you do that? So if someone says, yeah, I got it, and then clearly you didn't have it. So now that we know that you didn't have it, why aren't you being held accountable? You know, Turning Point USA is being dragged through the mud. His security is being dragged through the mud. Staffers are being dragged. Volunteers are being called to the carpet. But why not Chief Long? So yeah, it'd be nice to hear him say something or post something or, you know, make it clear why he dropped the ball there. Because obviously him dropping the ball was a fatal mistake, obviously. So it's a great interview. I will link to this in the, I don't want to get a copyright. I probably shared too much as it is, but I will link to this in the description. And because it's always amazing to hear from people who this dude seems like he has a lot of integrity. There's nothing about me that, you know, this is like, yeah, I don't know, you covering up something. He was very transparent. He was very forthcoming. He was very matter of fact. He didn't dodge and bob and weave out of things. He went. I love people who run straight to the fire. When you run straight to the fire, I can hear you out. When you start bobbing and weaving and ducking and jiving and not using names, and now you got sources and you might have heard over here, and let's get this angle and let me go send somebody over to Utah to take a picture after the fact. Like I don't care about that. I don't care about that. You know, especially when you're not a professional investigator. You know, it is what it is. But moving on. Okay. So this afternoon at 2 p.m. during their voting session, the House of Representatives it's expected to be unanimous. It should be unanimous to pass the Epstein. I keep forgetting the name of the act. Hold on, let me get it. Preston says it in this video. So we're expecting to get that vote this afternoon. Now, the one video that's circulating right now on social media is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She did a press conference with some of the victims and took a little shot at Trump, calling her a traitor. Take a look.
I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me. And I want to tell you that this only became possible today because the American people whom we serve as representatives here in Congress demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein files, but the real fight will happen after that.
Yeah, that's great. So, I don't care. I care about the victims. I don't care about these files. I in terms of like making this a presidential issue, a Trump issue, whatever, made it seem like this was part of Agenda 47. It was not. But okay, for the sake of transparency, Donald Trump said, "Yeah, just fine. Just release the damn file so we can move on with our agenda." And I agree. Let's just get this done. Obviously, it's still, and I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. I mean, first of all, we don't know what it is, that's being held. It's obviously a bunch of emails and a correspondence, but I don't know if there's an actual list with names, right? But I'm gonna tell you this: it's still not gonna be enough. It's still not gonna be enough. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. Even these pages that the Democrats released, these were the same pages that were released unredacted. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. It's never going to be enough on this issue. So even when they vote and all of this becomes what it becomes, it's still not going to be enough. Can we get these grocery prices down? I don't give a damn about an Epstein list. All right, cool. Here's Preston Myers going over whatever.
Moments ago, President Trump called on House Republicans to vote yes to release the full Epstein files this week. It is Sunday, November 17th here on Capitol Hill, and what was expected to be just a regular week here on the Hill is now turned into what will potentially be one of the most chaotic yet transparent weeks the Hill has seen. The resolution this week is called the Epstein Files Transparency Act, or H.R. 4405, which would require the Department of Justice to release all unclassified documents related to the Epstein case. In these files, there would be redactions such as witness names, as well as any ongoing investigations or anything that would put national security at risk. But this is a massive blow to the Democratic Party and a huge win for the American people.
Facts. And that music is going to get me a copyright in the background. I wish people stop putting music in your damn backgrounds, your videos. This is a blow to their agenda because the whole point, the reason why Donald Trump is calling this a hoax is because it has nothing to do with supporting victims. Because otherwise, Ashley Biden's diary would have been treated in the same vein. Otherwise, Hunter Biden's laptop would have been treated in the same vein. Victims. If you care about victims, you don't give a damn who they voted for. You don't give a damn what political party they're a part of. I don't give a damn. I've said this a million times. Once you cross the point of no return, you kill somebody, you rape somebody, you violate somebody in some crazy way. I don't give a damn if you voted for Donald Trump 3 times and you've been a Republican since Nixon. It ain't got nothing to do with what the hell you just did. I don't care. There's nothing to do with it. I'm not protecting you just because of who you voted for. This is the game of politics, and this is why I have no interest in it, because it's dirty and it's disgusting and it's never about the actual people. So, release the files, release whatever you have so we can get the hell on with this. Hopefully these victims get their book deals and their movie deals and whatever else they need, and they can, it won't change a lot of the physical and mental scars, but at least, they can reap something from the horrors that they endured, and maybe some justice. But these people are really rich, really powerful, really connected. So the chances of seeing people get arrested, I don't know. You know, these are not even the people we can think of. These are people who have wealth that makes Donald Trump look like a SNAP recipient. That's the kind of wealth we're talking about on this list. So, yeah, I don't know. But because getting through the layers of corruption in this world is going to require more than 3.5 years. We're going to need more than 4 years to do that. But do what you can. Here's Dummy Schumer. I'm sorry, Senator Schumer. Being asked a question. I don't think he quite heard the question, because I think he thought it was referencing President Trump, not President Autopen.
Senator, on that note, just I guess a question that's out there: why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Or not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding? Why doesn't he want them released?
Oh, Chucky. Oh, Chucky. Okay, I know these Democrats, they have a lot of revisionist history. They always, you know, it's one thing, but they believe another. You know, they'll say one thing, but do another, and then they'll change their mind depending politically, if it's politically expedient. Let's be very, very clear. These files have been accessible since George W. Bush was president. Right. He brought it right. Then when Barack Obama got elected, when President Obama was elected, all of a sudden we don't know that. We don't care about that. And then when Trump was elected the first time, so we got President Trump 1.0, it was brought back to the forefront. Democrats denied the list existed. They right-wing conspiracy. You're lying to the people. This is fodder. There might be, you know, this might be Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, but it's not really, you know, you're really not going to be able to detail anybody else that went there. And just because you take pictures with somebody doesn't mean you did anything nefarious. Oh, yeah. I agree. But when you're not logically consistent with it, when it depends on what you can get out of it, you change your perspective, Sonny Hostin.
People were dying for this information. There was some sort of list that everybody thought was going to come out, and who's on the list. What's important for us to note is we shouldn't be repeating names that are on the list, because just because your name has not on the list, but in the documents, just because your name is on the documents doesn't mean that you have done anything criminally irresponsible or illegal or civilly irresponsible. Or that you were a client. The only really, these documents, as I read them, only reflect Epstein's sexual assaults of women and his sexual behavior. So I think that... And Ghislaine also? And Ghislaine. And so being named in this suit does not equate to being accused of wrongdoing. And I think that is extremely important, because conspiracy theorists seem to not understand or enjoy facts. Yes. These are the facts.
There is a list. Trump's name is on the logs, the passenger logs of Epstein's aircraft at least 7 times. That's already been made public. I mean, of course, Trump is denying any and all allegations, but all of that information is out there. Why not just put it to rest and say, release the list?
Oh, isn't that so? What a difference a year makes, right? What a difference a year makes. When Mush Brain is in office, oh, well, you know, just because you take, yeah. I mean, we all have some creepy person we took a picture with. We didn't know they were creepy. Yeah. And it's very evident, even from the stupid emails they released earlier this week or last week, that Trump was clearly telling these people what you're doing is wrong and you need to stop. And it was very apparent that there was a rift between Epstein and Trump, and Epstein was pissed about it because Epstein was like, damn, I'm not connected to the power that can actually help me. No, he's not going to help you because he knows what you're doing is wrong and he's going to call you out on it. And then he's going to distance himself from you. That's what he should have done, and that's what Trump did. If Democrats had any hardcore evidence or proof, we'd have it by now. He wouldn't have got elected the first time if they had that type of proof. I mean, your attempt to take down his campaign was a Hollywood Access tape? You mean you had this? But Hollywood Access? Come on now. If you had to choose between a Hollywood Access tape where he's just talking like dude talk in the locker room versus actual crimes, you have actual documented crimes. And I'm gonna go with the Hollywood Access tape. Stop, cut the bullshit. Cut the bullshit. But what a difference 1 year makes, right? And being on the logs, we already knew this for years. Being on the plane doesn't mean you went to the island. That's the first thing, right? These rich, really wealthy people have their private planes that they rent out to people and lease out to people all the time. Doesn't mean you was on there getting it in. Trump has been vindicated at every turn. Every victim asked. Even the lawyer for some of the victims have said Trump was instrumental in this takedown of Jeffrey Epstein. If I'm on the list, why the hell would I be orchestrating a takedown of this person? All they got to do is pull up emails and files. So not one victim, not one person can say that Donald Trump did anything. So can we get this vote on at 2:00 and never hear about this again? Okay, cool. Unless you're going to arrest some people. If you're not going to arrest some people, which you're not, because Democrats they're not going to arrest their own. Even if it's glaring, even if the lights are bright and you can't deny it, they're still not going to. But let's get this vote done. And if one congressman, I don't give a damn Republican or Democrat, says no today, yeah, call their asses out. Because we want to get past this and move on. Anyway, we will be right back. All right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So yesterday I was watching a live stream by Shamika Michelle. She's cool. She's a cool conservative commentator. She's often on Jason Whitlock's show. The name alludes it. Unlock? No, it's not Unlock with Jason. It's I can't remember the name of the show, bro. Something with Jason Whitlock. Fearless. There we go. Fearless with Jason Whitlock. She's often a guest commentator on that show. She came through the walk away movement. So she came through Brandon Schrock. Anyway, so she had a live stream basically saying that Brandon Tatum betrayed Candace Owens. It was interesting because Shamika Michelle also has a history with Brandon Tatum because she was on a panel at CPAC where it was sort of taken what she said as an attack on Candace Owens. And of course, Candace Owens very rarely claps back, especially at that time. Now she claps back a lot, but then she wasn't really like the clap back person. So Brandon Tatum was often sent out to like do the clapbacks. And so Brandon clapped back at her. And so she played that and all of that stuff. But I want to say this about friendships. Some people are meant to be in your life forever. Some people are meant to be there for 5 minutes. Some people a season, some people a couple of years. It is what it is, right? Not everyone who you deem a friend is going to be a lifelong one. And sometimes you get to a place where ideologically you just can't reconcile that, And so it's only so many more times I can watch either one of them say, well, I love Brandon like a brother, but I don't really want to have this conversation. And then for Tatum to say the same thing, and like, I love Candace like a sister. I know her family, and I just don't. I just can't. I can't. I'm not wired that way. Maybe it's just me. But if I can't have the difficult conversation with you, then why are we friends? That's my first question. Even if we end up not being friends after this, why can't we come to the table and have the conversation? Obviously, it is obvious to Stevie Wonder that Candace Owens' ideology and perspective on certain things has changed drastically, and that is okay. We as human beings evolve, we change, right? That's what happens. You might have an epiphany that you want to support something. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it, but that's your prerogative, right? She had one stance on Israel at one point in her life. She got in the door. According to her, there were just some things that she can't undo, and now her position has changed drastically. Okay, fine. Obviously, Brandon Tatum doesn't agree with that. And he will dance and sing and shuck and jive all around it. He'll bring up Marjorie Taylor Greene. He will bring up Nick Fuentes. He will bring up Tucker Carlson, but he will not and very rarely have brought up Candace Owens directly. And when he is confronted with it, he makes it very clear that he is very apprehensive, even scared to have the conversation. I get it. Let me be clear. Uncomfortable conversations are never fun. I'm not saying they're fun and they're easy to do, but if that's your real friend, you can have a real conversation. That's it. In private. You don't have to be in public. You don't got to be on a podcast doing nothing, right? But if you're going to call out all of these other people and in this passive aggressive way, you're essentially calling out your friend as well. And he has said, Brandon has said in interviews, I don't want to have the conversation because it may very well be the last conversation we ever have. And listen, I understand how painful it is for a friendship to end over something like politics or an ideology. I get it. Been there, done that. I could put it on a t-shirt. But it's called life. It's this dance we do called life, right? Everyone, when Brandon and Candace started out, everyone's green, bright-eyed, bushy tail. Oh, we're going viral and we're getting attention and this movement is moving and we're making political connects and all of this stuff is going well for us. You're expected to evolve at some point, right? You will change professionally, especially. Because now more money is involved. And now when more money is involved, what's involved with money? Characters. Some people might call them handlers. Some people might call them staff, entourage, perspectives. You get a bit more knowledge about the business you're in, the industry of politics, political commentary, social media, all of that stuff. And you get to an impasse with some friends. You just do, And so for me, I would encourage y'all to just have that private, difficult conversation. And even if at the end of it, it becomes, hey, we can't rock with each other, then so be it. So be it. Doesn't mean I don't love you. I don't respect you. I don't, I wish you the best. But on this issue, maybe we can't just agree to disagree. And if you can, that's great. Sometimes, I have friends I can agree to disagree with, and cool. We can agree to disagree on this and just move on. But the problem is, and the caveat with these people is, this is what they do for a living. So when this is what you do for a living, it muddies the water a bit. It's not like, Candace Owens is like the dean of, public studies at Harvard or something. These people are political commentators. They're podcasters. They're social media influencers, whatever the title is this week. So you have to confront it head on because it's at the center of what you do for a living. Is the tricky part right there. So I wouldn't say anything as extreme as Brandon Tatum has in terms of calling people the devil who want to investigate further into Charlie Kirk's assassination and all of the components that went around that. That's fine. That's your prerogative. But when it becomes a circus and just a bunch of confusing rabbit holes that you're sending people down with no actual results, that's where you lose me. That's where Candace loses me, right? Tatum's been consistent. I don't know how long he's been super pro-Israel, but I will say this. When he got that interview with Benjamin Netanyahu, the side eye was strong. Because first of all, no one just gets an interview with a world leader, especially like a Benjamin Netanyahu, right? Now if he got like, I don't know, what's a frivolous country? I don't mean none of them are frivolous, but if he, like some more accessible prime minister or president or whatever, then sure. But this is Netanyahu. This is like the world. Everyone knows Israel, right? Everyone may not know some other country, but they know Israel, right? And so that's where the side eye came in, and then that's where the theories and the APAC Shakur, compared calling him APAC Shakur. I couldn't find the meme, which is absolutely hilarious. But have the conversation, people. You have the Candace supporters who are like, yeah, she's on to something, her stance is valid, Israel's evil, all this other stuff. And I think when we go to either extreme, because I'm not extreme, and so when we go to either extreme, I give you a strong side eye. Right. I just can't. I can't live in extremes. It can't all be wrong. It can't all be right. There's levels to this. And so because there's right and wrong in all of it, and let's be clear, at the base of this, regardless of whether you support Candace or Tatum, is money. Right. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. And there's nothing wrong with money. There's nothing wrong with liking money. There's nothing wrong with love. You can love money, but you shouldn't worship money, right? It shouldn't be the reason why you do things all the time, right? You know what, Jay Lee? Listen, I didn't know what a Ukraine was until all of this stuff jumped off with a Russia. So yeah, that would probably be a good example of a frivolous country, in my opinion. And yes, Prince, when you have that type of personality, you will always need a villain. And so yeah, when you're in the business of social media and podcasting, there always has to be something. And maybe that's why I'm not that good at this or successful, I should say, because I'm not looking for enemies. I have enough already. I don't need any more. And then the enemies, the people I really consider enemies, like there's a reason why you're my enemy, not some little frivolous, like, oh, we had an argument on TikTok. No, I'm talking about like the real world 3D, like you're really my enemy. Not, oh, you don't like Israel. No, you're really my enemy. And there's a strong reason for that. There's an actual reason to be my enemy. But again, like these two go back to the beginning. That I would even say, they're probably the face of that initial wave of social media conservatives really being successful. They're like the first wave of that, right? Really being successful, and really building empires out of something that started with something. You remember Candace Owens was Red Pill Black. Candace Owens was doing amateur skits. Remember Mom, Dad, I'm a conservative, and I remember that stuff. And then Tatum came along. He did his video in his car. The video blew up. and he was able to quit being a police officer and move into something he felt suited him better, and at the time was safer, you know. But if you're gonna call out Tucker and Marjorie Taylor and Fuentes and whoever, you got to be able to call out everyone, even your own friends. Yeah, we don't agree, but that's still my friend. You know, we don't agree, you know, and we just don't talk about it. You know, but you got to have the conversation, because I don't do avoidance. Like, I don't do avoidance. Like, if I have a problem with you, I go to you, right? If you want to really piss me off, be that friend that talks to everybody around me except me about your problem with me. Talk to me. I'm pretty sure whatever beef we have, we could settle in 5 minutes. Or not. Either way, we did it the responsible way, right? You came to me with the issue versus talking around and assuming and planting seeds of doubt in everybody around us, versus just talk to the damn person directly. Yo, can we rap for a moment? Bye, 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 bye. And the bye, bye, the bye, bye, the bye, bye, boom, bam. You may even throw a punch. But you can still be friends at the end of it. And that's dudes. Obviously, male and female friendships are different. Obviously, you're not going to punch her. But I'm just saying, some strong words might be said. Some strong positions might be taken. But ultimately, you know, if that's your ride or die, your true friend, your true homie, then you could have that conversation and move on with it, you know. Now, is anti-Semitism out of control? I wouldn't say it's out of control, but I will say there is a problem with it, you know. But also, we've gotten to a place where, like racism, everything's anti-Semitic. Everything. And everything can't be anti-Semitic, because eventually you dilute the power of it, right? And then no one takes you seriously. And then when the real stuff shows up, like racism, no one takes you seriously. Again, we got to be able to be logical here. Okay. You can't legislate people into believing what you want them to believe. You can't do it. You know. And did I mention this is America? This is America. So the government, you know, and I did a podcast episode on the RANT experience on this, where, you know, I called out, you know, sort of Israel trying to circumvent the First Amendment to create censorship on college campuses, and I'm not with that. No, I'm not with that. Students should be allowed to challenge things in history, to have conversations about it, to have opposing views on things in history. Now, there's a difference between having a challenging, you know, challenging a historical event or something and just outright hating people. Totally different things. Totally different things, right? You know, so I'm not saying go be like one of these Fuentes type people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you should be able to have a counterpoint of view on something, and you should be able to express it without losing your scholarship or your position at school or whatever. You should be able to do that as a student. So I don't agree. That's what I adamantly, that foot down, not going to move on that. But I'm not going to say it doesn't exist either, right? So yeah, there is a degree of anti-Semitism. There is a degree of blaming all Jews for things. Yeah, that does exist. And that's wrong, right? That's absolutely wrong. You know, that's like when idiots say, well, 13% of the population is commit most of the crime. No, you bonehead. 1% of that 13% is committing a lot of the crime. Not all of us. If all of us were committing crimes, it wouldn't be 50%. It would be way higher than that. It would be all of us. Anyway, you know what? This is why. This is why I don't have a lot of friends. This is why I don't have a lot of friends. Anyway, so yeah, this is the disagreements Prince and I have. So yes, have the conversation. And then wherever the chips fall, the chips fall. Y'all grown ass people with babies, families. You can figure it out. You can absolutely, positively, 1000% figure this out. However, it works. But this passive aggressive, I'm not going to talk about it, but talk about it. But your job is to talk about it, but I'm not going to talk about my friend. No. You're going to have to talk about your friend. Huh? Whatever, Jay Lee. Whatever. Anyway. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that they can work through an anti-Semitic, pro-Israel, anti-Israel? Can you have an anti and pro-Israel friendship? Could you have it? I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't live in extremes, so it's not, it's not pro or anti. It's just, if I critique, it's not coming from a hateful place. Or if I agree with something, it's not because somebody sent me a check for $7,000. Although at this point in my life, I will take that check if you offer it. But, and like I've said yesterday in my live stream, if you ever see me being so pro-Israel to the point of nausea, just shut up and let me rock. That's it. That's all I got for you. All right, I'm gonna have to shut down this chat. Because this is just disrespectful. Yeah, this chat gonna have to get shut down. Anyway, hopefully I was thorough and clear. And Brandon and Candace have the conversation. Do what you got to do and be adults about it. But this passive aggressive stuff is boring. And no, I don't. And then also, I guess to answer the major question, do I think he stabbed her in the back by speaking even a little bit about her? No. I don't think he did. I think this is their job. It's not like Brandon Tatum is a bus driver and he's talking about his friend who, like Brandon Tatum, this is what he does for a living. And so if this is what you do for a living and you got to call your friend out, oh, well, if I got to call Prince out, I'm going to call him out, Now, will it be a fun conversation after the call out? Probably not. But, it's going to be what it's going to be. But it's rooted in money, not in real friendship. I believe Tatum is bought for you. So, I mean, that was also what Shamika Michelle was saying yesterday in her show, that Brandon Tatum was basically hired to be the bulldog. Like, he was hired to be Candace's bulldog, and to go after the people who came at her, and so, and which Tatum did. But I don't know if he was bought and paid for, but and so I don't know. I don't know these people personally. I met Brandon Tatum one time. He was very nice. He took a moment to talk to me, so I ain't got nothing bad to say about him in terms of like a personal interaction with him. But in terms of this, I don't know. I'm just wired differently, and I like to what's the word? I like to solve things. I like to just get to it. Like, what is this and what are we doing? So I'm not wasting my time. You're not wasting your time, and I'm not talking ish behind your back. You're not talking. Let's just have a conversation. Call me, text me. Let's go. Let's talk about it. But Prince, what don't you do? Lord, the PR I'm gonna need when this finally takes off, after they go through your socials. This is your friend? Yeah. You bald head. Oh God. Anyway, I think I've said my piece. If it's a real friendship, it can withstand a difficult conversation. If it's a real friendship, it can absolutely withstand a moment of strife. But avoiding it, that's what we do in high school, maybe college. But grown folks with babies, marriages. Come on now. had a conversation, had a verbal agree to disagree, and then move on with it. And no, and people are not going to stop asking y'all about it. They're just not, because y'all are two peas in a pod. It was Candace and Brandon. It was Candace and Brandon. It was Blexit. It was TPUSA. You know, it was go to the White House. It was all of this stuff in the beginning. You know, and so yeah, talk about it, be about it, whatever. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. If you would like to support the channel, you can go to AJsRANTroom.com. That's AJsRANTroom.com. If you would like to buy me a coffee or a tea, you can go to Buy Me a Coffee and punch in AJ's Rant Room, or you can scan this QR code right here and it'll take you right to my page. We also, if you would like to drop a Cash App, you can do that as well at AJ's Rant. Okay, there we go. Anyway, I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna filibuster for 3 minutes because I want this live stream to be an actual hour. Not the Tony Yayo of the group. Do you know what this is? G Unit. Yes, thank you, Lee. Please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't done so already. We're building a nice little thing here. We're gonna keep pushing forward, and I know I have several videos in the pipeline. I keep editing, and the ideas just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I have to stop myself and just finish the damn videos so I can release them. So So I'm trying to get one out this week. So we'll see. But anyway, once again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. And yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you on Hump Day. Peace.